A few weeks ago, I shared some of my favorite gluten-free baking and pantry essentials. I think it's really important to know what we're eating and what we're putting into our body. And the more we can kind of create our own blends and put things together ourselves, the more we're in control of what we're putting into our bodies. So I'll leave that link below if you want to check that video out for the gluten-free staples. Today, I'm actually going to show you 2 recipes that I'm using those in and showing you just how I use these different flours to create different textures that really do mimic having gluten. But if you are on a gluten-free journey and you're just looking for food that just keeps things simple, you don't have to buy anything extra once you get those pantry staples together, and then you can put together recipes like the ones that I'm going to show you today. So today I'm showing you gluten-free and grain-free tortillas, and I'm also sharing with you our favorite pancake recipe. You can find these on the blog at styleandstewardship.com. I'll link that in the description below. Without further ado, let's cook. Okay, so let's pop into our supplies. You're going to need some tapioca flour or starch, some almond flour. You're going to need a mixing bowl, some warm water, some sea salt. You're going to need a measuring cup. You're going to need a measuring spoon and a regular spoon. So we're going to use this regular spoon to scoop things out. We have a rolling pin if you're going to use that, or you can use a tortilla press that I've placed some parchment paper, and I just cut that with some scissors for the top and the bottom. So one of the things that we're going to do is use a spoon to kind of scoop and level our ingredients. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this does help. Okay, so while we're here, I want to just point this out because this is really important. Make sure that you're using blanched almond flour, and also keep in mind that it's going to vary from brand to brand. So you also want to make sure that if there's any clumps, you just kind of pat that in there, break it up with the back of your spoon while you're using your measuring cup. And you always want to use tapioca flour or starch for this because it's just such a great binder. This is going to keep us from having to use eggs. There's no oil in this recipe. It's really, really simple. I'm using Anthony's tapioca flour. It's also called tapioca starch. That also varies from brand to brand. So keep that in mind when making this recipe because yours may turn out differently than mine. It'll still be delicious, but brands do vary with even how coarse some of the almond flours are. I'm using 1.5 cups of almond flour. I'm using 1 cup of tapioca starch. And then you're going to start with about 1/4 cup of water, and you're just going to add in about a tablespoon as you go. The reason why I say this is because of that variation. This is what the dough looks like. What you want to keep in mind is that it should look and feel like Play-Doh. So if you're pressing it and it's sticky to your fingers, that means you need to add a little bit more tapioca starch. And you can literally just sprinkle some more in right here and then just mix it back in, which is what I had to do. But this is a super, super forgiving dough. Once it feels like it's like Play-Doh is the best way that I can describe it. Okay, so next up, you are going to add some parchment paper and you're just going to press it down kind of into a disc. And I'm going to show you the first way that I'm going to cut this. So I'm going to use what's called a bench scraper. You could also use a butter knife or a regular knife, doesn't really matter. You can add some tapioca to the top of this if it's too sticky. Mine was too sticky and I'm thinking I just added too much water and didn't realize. So you're going to go ahead and cut this up into 6 pieces, and my fractions were not on point. But you can always manipulate this once you get to the point where you start rolling it up into a ball. But this is just a really easy way to do it. It's not perfectly cut. It's all good. They can be whatever size you like. They're your tortillas. So I'm just going to roll these up into balls, and I'm just going to do that for each and every piece. Work this out really quickly, and I'm also going to show you using the tortilla press. So you're going to have 2 pieces of parchment, one for the bottom, one for the top, and I've just cut that with some scissors. I'm going to add a little more tapioca because for whatever reason I added too much liquid. So you're just going to roll this around if you've done what I did, which was too much liquid. So that's why you want to go slow with the water and just add more as you need it. I have a skillet preheating right now that's nonstick on the stove. I'm going to press this out and we're going to get started with frying these up. There's no oil involved or anything like that, and you're going to see just how easy it is to make these, and they really take about 10 to 15 minutes. Once you get quicker with actually making the tortilla portion, it gets faster, trust me. Today was it wasn't the day for me. So it's all good. We have fun in the kitchen, right? So this one's sticky, but again, you can just add some more tapioca, rub that around. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like when I added some more tapioca. So what I did was I have that one frying up, but this is what the dough should like. It should look like Play-Doh. So now that I have it, that's why you see like the tapioca around the side of the bowl. Do not be afraid to stick this back in the bowl and to add a little more tapioca if necessary. So I only used a half teaspoon of salt for mine. You could use, salt to taste, but this is what it looks like. It looks like Play-Doh. It's smooth. It's no longer sticking to my fingers. So now I'm going to show you just how I'm going to cut up the rest of this, which is I'm just going to pinch some off. So I'm just going to make 5 out of this since I went ahead and put that one in the pan. I'm going to ball these up. And I just wanted to really walk you through this so you see how easy it is, but just to see how you can overcome just some simple things like adding a little bit too much water or using a different brand than I did, because that will impact how this comes out, how sticky it might be, or how coarse your almond flour may be will actually impact how these turn out. But as long as you keep in mind, you're playing with Play-Doh. You're playing with Play-Doh. You are good to go. So I'm just going to roll all of these out just like I did that first one, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to cook these or fry these up. Like I said, there's no oil involved, but I'm still going to call it frying. So I just have a small pan, and again, I'm just kind of getting these a little more smooth on the outside. They're not perfect. Don't worry about that. So now I'm going to press another one out, and I'm going to show you the difference now that I added a little more tapioca starch. So this is just going to peel right off. Way easier, right? So I just wanted to show you that. That's what it looked like. And I'm going to show you a trick. If you find that if your tortilla is like sticking to your parchment paper, this is what you're going to do. You're going to flip it over, and then you're going to press it down. You're going to rub it kind of back and forth. That's going to smooth things out. And the tortillas, once they start heating up, they're going to release a little bit of steam and cause these beautiful little bubbles. Once it starts to cook, you'll be able to peel this parchment right off. And it's super, super easy. And then, so this was that first one that was like sticking to the parchment. If you roll it out too thin, that may happen as well. And you can this is all you have to do. You can reuse that parchment as well. And this is what it looks like when it has the right amount of tapioca. I have a wet paper towel, and I am going to remove that, add that to my paper towel with a little bit of filtered water. This is super, super important. This is what's going to make it pliable and keep it from drying out. You also don't want to overheat these. If you overheat these, they'll get crispy, more so like a cracker, but that's not a bad thing. You can actually turn that into a tostada and put some refried beans on it and, eat it that way. But this is how pliable it is. These are absolutely delicious. My son kept coming into the kitchen, and I had to just like give him a couple. It might crack along the edges if it's really, really thin, or if there's a bit more almond flour. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like to just roll this out with a rolling pin. Not everybody has a tortilla press. I might be just obsessed with tacos, so that's probably why I have one. I should probably get a bigger one. So you're just going to do the same thing. Take one of those rounds. You're going to just flatten it out into a disc. You're going to add another piece of parchment to the top, and then you're going to take a rolling pin. Here's the trick with a rolling pin. Ask me how I failed on this. But you're just going to roll this out. But the trick is to not press down super hard. This is a very delicate dough. And if you press it down really, really hard, you'll kind of get the edges. They'll be thinner than the middle. This is not a precision situation anyways. But this is what it looks like with the hand rolled one. I actually preferred this than using the tortilla press because I could control the thickness a lot better in my opinion. So I'm going to put that there, and the tapioca, I know it looks weird, but you do not really taste it at all. It doesn't have a flavor. So you see these balls, these bubbles that are kind of popping up. Once you see those, you flip it. So similar to a pancake or similar to making one with gluten, it makes the same way. And you see these beautiful golden spots, and I'm just taking that paper towel for the top. I have one for the bottom, and I'm going to show you that. Look at how pliable and beautiful this is. So I was filming this video and recording this, so I kind of forgot. A couple of them were cooked a little harder. Like this one is still flexible, so you can still fold it, but it kind of got a little crispy, so it's cracking on the back, but it was still delicious. So the ones, look at how pliable this is. They're pliable and chewy, and they have just somehow they have like a buttery like flavor, even though we didn't add any oil. I think that's just from the almond flour, but that's what it looks like. And look at that. You have tortillas, but check this one out. So the ones on the very bottom collect steam from the other ones, and this one right here, so it has a lot of tapioca. Like I said, you can't really taste it. It doesn't really have a flavor. And I'm going to show you what this one looks like. So this is our tester. I want you to see how beautiful and flexible this tortilla is. This is how a tortilla should be. You're only using a couple of ingredients. You don't have a ton of ingredients. This is what they look like, and I hope you have a wonderful Taco Tuesday. Let's hop into the next recipe. So whenever I go grocery shopping, one of the last things that I want to do when I get home is to cook something. So one of the things that I love to do is to make something ridiculously easy, something that's going to also have leftovers. Right now, I went Saturday to Costco, which I don't suggest you do in the middle of the afternoon, but I went to Costco today and I just got some of our staples that I wasn't able to get this past week. And since tomorrow is Sunday, I'm going to go ahead and make something that I know will also be a leftover for tomorrow. So that's my other tip, is whenever you are making something, make it easy and make double. That's one of the ways that I like to kind of batch meal prep in a sense. It's not necessarily prepping in the sense that I'm taking all these little individual containers, but I'm making big batches of things that I know that my family can just pick and have for the next day. So can I, and it just makes things so much easier. But I'm gonna go ahead and get some of these put away. So first up, we have some organic apples from Aldi. I picked up some of our favorite oats from Costco. They're glyphosate free and they were on sale. Next up, I have some of their whole unsalted organic cashews. I have some Chosen Foods mayo, which is made with avocado oil, and Siete chips. We gotta have these. So I'm gonna pack all this up and then we'll pop into that recipe. I'm gonna mix everything right here. Coconut flour. Arrowroot. Have our homemade baking powder, and you can check back on a couple videos where I shared my gluten-free pantry staples. I show you how to make your own gluten-free baking powder with just a couple simple ingredients. So I am just going to use my baking powder. Pinch of salt. Coconut oil. It's going to be pretty thick. So I like to use these scoops. These are super, super handy. You just get the right amount. So it's about 1/4 cup if you're using a measuring cup. And you're going to get 12 pancakes out of this recipe if you double it like I did. And I just like to take the back of the scoop and kind of go around in a circle. And this is just going to give us just the size that we would like with the pancake mix. As you can see, it's kind of thick, almost like a cornbread Like if you've ever made cornbread before, it's thick like that because of the coconut flour. It's so absorbent. It gets really thick and absorbs all the moisture. So you want to use that, or you can use the back of just any spoon, any metal spoon, and just wet the back of it. Will help it to kind of be able to spread these things out. So you're going to cook these like any other pancakes. Same rules apply. We've got it about, I want to say my stove goes up to 10 as far as the dial, and I think I have these on about a 7. So as you can see, it's starting to fry up, and you're going to let all those bubbles pop up just like any other pancake you've ever made. And this is going to vary as far as how hot it's going to be with your stove. I heated mine back up to about an 8, and they're cooking faster. I love these because you're going to get that beautiful golden edge. You could use butter or ghee if you're not dairy free. I'm using coconut oil. You could also use avocado oil. I have done that too, and it came out just fine. Now we're going to flip it so you can see this beautiful color. I love these. The flavor is slightly different than a regular pancake in that it reminds me just a little like French toast, and I think just because it has more of an egg flavor in there, but you don't taste a lot of egg. You'll have to try it and let me know. Love these from Costco. So these are the Amy Lou. They have no gluten. They're pork free, no nitrates, and you're getting 3 jumbo packs of these. I'm going to let you check out the ingredients as always. This whole big pack in my area was $13.99. And I love that it doesn't have any like crazy preservatives or anything. I like to use my air fryer for this. So I'm going to show you what one of these packs look like. There's so many in here. So I just went ahead and put one of the packs out because we're having this for dinner. So we are going to go in on this. I'm going to preheat my air fryer to 380 degrees, and we're going to cook these for about 8 minutes. Works really well for mine, and this is going to allow it to get nice and crispy as though they were like deep fried, even though they're not. They get this nice chew on the outside. So good. This is what breakfast for dinner looks like. So a couple stacks of pancakes took me about 10 minutes, and there is dinner. So we're just topping it with some pure maple syrup. Until next time, your life matters, what you do with it matters. So what will you steward well?